Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful people, welcome to the 97 Republic YouTube channel, where I react to news and live events pertaining to different sporting codes. So I kindly ask that you hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, as that would really help this channel grow. And to ensure you don't skip a beat, click the notification bell as well. That way you can guarantee that you don't miss any of the action. Alright, so let's go. After beating Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC 311, what is next for the Bantamweight champion Merab Dvalishvili? Now, I'm pretty sure if you had to ask Merab who he would like to see next, his answer would probably be Eileen Perez. No, understandable. In fact, relatable. But I think that is why we don't give Merab a chance to speak on the matter. Now, when looking at Merab's next potential opponents inside of the Bantamweight division, the male Bantamweight division of the UFC, before I set the scene, or before I give you any hypothetical scenario, the rankings of the Bantamweight division of the UFC looks like this. So obviously, no spoiler alert, Merab is the champion. At number 1, we have Sean O'Malley. At number 2, we have Petr Yan. At number 3, we have Umar Nurmagomedov, dropping down 2 spots after his loss at UFC 311. Then at number 4, we have Corey Sandhagen, and at number 5, Deiveson Figueiredo. Now, the only fights that has been announced and scheduled regarding the Bantamweight division and its activity is number 7, Henry Cejudo, taking on number 8, Song Yadong. By far the coolest name inside of the UFC, right? Song Yadong, Henry Cejudo, and then at number 9 we have Rob Font awaiting the return of the king. Now, no, Rob Font's not fighting Aragon. Rob Font is fighting Dominic Cruz in Dominic Cruz's much anticipated return to the Bantamweight division of the UFC. Now, even though big fan of both fights, right? Be 100% my undivided attention to these respective fights. I don't see either one of these two having any title implications. I don't see the winner of these two respective fights fighting for the title next. So we have to look at the top 5 inside of the Bantamweight division to be able to somewhat come to a conclusion to who Merab's next opponent would be, right? Because I don't see Merab going either up or down in weight either. So when looking at the top 5, Deiveson Figueiredo will safe to say it won't be him, right? He recently lost to Petr Yan. Corey Sandhagen at number 4 recently lost to Umar as well. So neither one of them. Umar, obviously dealing with the situation, not him either. So what I think the UFC wants to do, right, if I had to take an educated guess as towards what the UFC's plans are regarding the Bantamweight division, is having Sean O'Malley facing Petr Yan for number 1 contender spot to face Merab. I don't think the UFC wants to give Sean an immediate rematch, and seeing Petr Yan's run of form, seeing the UFC move him up over Umar at the number 2 spot, I think the UFC wants to schedule Sean O'Malley, Petr Yan. Winner of that fight loses to Merab. Right now, I know, right? It's mixed martial arts. That's the beauty of the sport. Anything can happen at any time. But we've seen this, right? Now, I'm not saying that Petr Yan nor Sean O'Malley doesn't stand a chance. I'm just saying that we've seen it play out. And the problem is, even though they have better preparation going into the fight, whoever wins the fight between Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan, right? Hypothetically speaking, let's say it's Petr Yan. Is he gonna stop Merab's wrestling? The same wrestling that Merab implemented in their first fight, that had Merab breaking records for the amount of takedowns inside of a UFC fight? Will Sean O'Malley be able to withstand Merab's wrestling after Merab dominated Sean for 5 rounds? Would either one of them be able to solve the Merab puzzle? From my perspective, highly unlikely. Not impossible, just improbable. Right? I don't see it happening. Would I still tune in? You bet your uncle. But going in with the expectation of what I just said. Now, if I had to say, the only real threat I see to Merab's bantamweight reign inside of the UFC would be Umar Nurmagomedov. Okay, we saw Umar winning 2 rounds against Merab with a broken hand. Now it is difficult, as you could imagine, to beat the champion in any weight division with 2 hands. Now imagine only having one. And Umar made it competitive. Now sure, he faded from rounds 3 up until 5. But there is no telling how much of an influence and how much of a negative impact breaking your hand had on someone and their game plan and what they wanted to implement regarding the fight. And we saw Umar being competitive with one hand. I think it is safe to assume he would be competitive with both as well. But he was able to not only somewhat withstand Merab's wrestling, but he managed to take Merab down as well. Where we didn't see the same regarding Petr Yan, we didn't see the same regarding Sean O'Malley. Now sure, what Petr has as an advantage is he manages to stand up quite comfortably in wrestling transitions, right? Because he has a low center of gravity. He is a strong guy, so he can stand up relatively easily. But the problem is the amount of wearing and tearing with regards to your cardio by doing that, by using energy, using force to be able to stand up when you're taken down. You're not standing up with just your weight, you're standing up with someone else's as well. And where Sean might have an advantage is because Sean is a taller fighter. I think Sean would be the only one to be able to catch Merab on a wrestling entry and maybe potentially knock him out. But it feels like a lucky punch is needed with regards to either Sean or Petr Yan. Where with Merab and Umar, it feels like Umar stands a chance in any facet of the fight. But if we really wanted to see Merab being tested, now I'm not a big advocate for champions, defending their belt once or twice and then moving down or up within a division, right? But if we had to see Merab Dvalishvili taking on Alejandro Pantoja at 125, we would be fixated on the television. It would be the first time in Merab's UFC career, apart from obviously his first 2 losses within the UFC, it would be the first time we saw Merab taking on basically a mirror image of himself, where Pantoja somewhat mimics everything Merab is about: pressure, wrestling, a somewhat good striking, an incredible gas tank, incredible cardio, incredible will to just put the pressure on your opponent. They are basically mirror images of one another. And to see them fight against each other, where both of their skill sets are basically as even as it could be, we would be in for a spectacle. We would be in for Martin Scorsese-like cinema. And massive fan of the idea of Merab facing Pantoja. Now I don't like to advocate, as I previously mentioned, champions going up or down in division within their first, 3 title fights. But there is a way we can fix it. We have Pantoja coming up to 135.